The day Marcus rolled up in his dented delivery van, no one spared him more than a passing glance. The logo on the side was half faded, the tires screeched against the pavement like a dying violin, and the man behind the wheel wore the same tired uniform he'd been cycling through for years. He had a wiry build, shoulders hunched from too many miles on the road, and eyes that carried the weight of sleepless nights. To most, Marcus was invisible, a mere delivery guy, one of countless faces people saw only long enough to sign a clipboard or take a parcel. But invisibility had its advantages. People talked freely around you when they thought you didn't matter. People revealed their true colors when they thought you were beneath them. And Marcus had seen, heard, and endured more than anyone could imagine. The mockery usually started small. A snicker when he double-checked an address, a muttered insult when he asked for ID before handing over a package. But at Barton & Wells Enterprises, the mockery wasn't hidden, it was performed. The first time Marcus delivered there, he overheard two receptionists by the glass doors. "Look at him, probably lives in that van. Can you imagine working a dead-end job like that? No future, no respect. My dog gets better treatment." Marcus kept his head down. He smiled politely, as though their laughter hadn't clawed at his pride. He handed over the heavy boxes, signed off the slip, and left. But as weeks turned into months, the comments grew sharper. The young interns would giggle and stage fake applause when he arrived. "Here he is, our hero, the parcel prince." The executives, suits crisp and expensive, didn't even look at him. When they did, it was only to remind him of his place. "Don't scuff the marble, delivery boy. This isn't a warehouse." The CEO's assistant, a smug woman named Victoria, once sneered as Marcus set down a package. "You should be grateful. At least you get to walk through these doors. Most people like you never even see the inside of buildings like this." Marcus said nothing. He nodded, turned, and pushed his cart back to the van. But he never forgot. The truth was, Marcus had once stood in their shoes. Years ago, he was a rising star in finance. Sharp suits, long nights at the office, deals worth millions. He had a corner office overlooking the city. He had respect. He had friends, though he would later realize they were only colleagues tied to him by money. Then came betrayal. A partner he trusted sold him out during an acquisition deal, dumping the blame for a failed merger on Marcus's shoulders. Overnight, his reputation was poisoned. His accounts froze. Lawsuits bled him dry. And just like that, the man who once commanded rooms was now pounding the pavement, desperate for work. Most people would have broken. Many would have folded into bitterness. But Marcus wasn't most people. He chose invisibility. The delivery job? That was his mask. A way to disappear, to observe, to rebuild in silence. While others laughed at the uniform, Marcus was learning, watching, calculating. For 5 years, he lived like a shadow. His real work happened at night. The van became his office on wheels. Investments, silent partnerships, properties under shell companies. Little by little, the broken man they mocked pieced together something greater than what he lost. And Barton & Wells, the very company whose employees mocked him the most, was at the center of his quiet revenge. Because what they didn't know was that the firm had long been leaking money. Corruption thrived in its upper ranks, and behind layers of false ownership and paper trails, Marcus had been buying them piece by piece. Subsidiaries first, then suppliers, then minority shares. No one noticed when a shadow company took control of their logistics provider. No one cared when another entity took a stake in their real estate holdings. By the time they laughed at him the 100th time, Marcus owned more of Barton & Wells than anyone inside its glass walls realized. Still, he played his role. Still, he let them sneer and call him delivery boy, because patience was the sweetest seasoning for revenge.
The breaking point came on a sweltering July afternoon. Marcus was drenched in sweat, his van's AC long broken. He carried a stack of heavy boxes to the lobby, and as he struggled through the glass doors, one box slipped. It hit the floor with a thud, scattering papers across the pristine marble. The laughter that followed cut like knives. "Careful, delivery boy, you'll scratch the floor," one intern jeered. "Clumsy and sweaty."
The silence that hung over the conference hall was unlike anything Marcus had ever heard. These were people who once filled rooms with hollow laughter, with arrogance, with the self-assurance of those who believed the world bent beneath their shoes. Now, every mocking tongue was still, every smug smirk frozen. Harold Barton, the CEO, clutched the edge of the podium as though it could anchor him. This is impossible. I built this company from the ground up. Who do you think you are, barging in here?" Marcus's smile was razor thin. "I think I'm the man who owns you now." He let the words sink in, the weight of ownership, real, legal, unshakable. He could see the denial flashing across Barton's face, the way Victoria's carefully painted mask cracked, how the interns glanced around nervously, unsure whether to flee or kneel. "You can't just walk in here and—" Barton began again, but Marcus cut him off with a quiet authority that stilled the room. "I don't need to walk in, Harold. I don't need permission. I am the majority shareholder of Barton and Wells, which means every executive here," his eyes swept across the trembling board members, "works for me. Every intern groveling for approval works for me. And you, Harold," he let the silence draw out, savoring the tension, "you answer to me." The murmurs swelled again, but none dared laugh. Marcus closed the folder he had placed on the podium and stepped forward. His gaze found Victoria, the assistant who once mocked him in the lobby for daring to exist within the company's glass doors. "Victoria," he said softly, almost kindly. Her name alone cut through the whispers. "Do you remember telling me I should be grateful just to walk these halls?" Her face blanched, her throat bobbing. I... "Don't worry," Marcus interrupted. "You won't have to walk them anymore. Security will escort you out after this meeting. You're finished here." A gasp swept the room. Victoria's voice cracked into desperation. You can't do this! I've worked here for years." "And in those years, you mocked, belittled, and trampled anyone you thought beneath you. But your reign ends tonight." Two security guards, men who had once laughed behind Marcus's back when he struggled with boxes, stepped forward uncertainly. He met their eyes, and they froze. He gave a single nod. They obeyed instantly. Victoria was ushered out, her shrill protests echoing in the hall like the fading wail of a ghost. Marcus turned back to the crowd. "You see, I know what kind of culture rots in these walls. I've heard it. I've lived it. You look down on those you think unworthy. But here's the truth. Your worth isn't defined by your suit, your title, or your paycheck. It's defined by how you treat people when you think no one important is watching." No one spoke. The interns who once staged fake applause now stared at their shoes. Executives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Marcus's eyes cut back to Harold Barton. "As for you, Harold, your empire is gone. You built it on arrogance, corruption, and exploitation. I bought it piece by piece while you were too busy polishing your cufflinks. You never even noticed." Barton's face reddened with rage. "I'll fight you in court. You'll never—" He held up the folder again. "Everything is legal, ironclad.
Try to fight, and I'll open every skeleton-filled closet you've been hiding for years. Do you think your shady real estate deals won't see daylight? Your offshore accounts? I own the auditors now, and I own you." Barton slumped back, the fire in him extinguished. For the first time in decades, he was powerless. He let the silence stretch again before delivering the final blow. "You're terminated, effective, immediately. And don't bother cleaning your office. It's already mine." The room rippled with shock, but beneath it, Marcus saw something else: fear. The kind of fear that comes when a hierarchy collapses, when the untouchable are brought low. He stepped down from the podium, his voice dropping into a measured calm. "I'm not here for applause. I'm not here for your approval. I'm here for change. For years, this company thrived on cruelty disguised as professionalism. That ends tonight. I've seen how you treat delivery men, janitors, receptionists, the people who keep this building running while you sneer from glass towers. They will be respected. They will be protected. And if anyone here can't adapt to that, the door is right there."
The weight of his words pressed on every chest in the hall. No one dared challenge him. Marcus walked to the exit, each step echoing like a gavel strike. Before leaving, he turned once more. "Remember this moment. Remember the man you mocked, the man you dismissed, the man you thought beneath you. Because from this day forward, every paycheck you cash will bear the name Marcus Hale, the delivery guy." And with that, he left the hall in silence so thick it could be cut with a knife. The fallout was swift and merciless. Victoria tried to sue for wrongful termination. Her case collapsed when Marcus's lawyers presented evidence of her misconduct. Emails mocking clients, misuse of funds, workplace harassment. She was ruined. Harold Barton retreated into obscurity, his legacy shattered. His name, once gilded on plaques and press releases, became synonymous with downfall. As for the interns and executives who had laughed the loudest, Marcus made examples of them. Some were demoted to entry-level positions, forced to taste the humility they had denied others. Others were quietly dismissed, replaced with people who valued dignity over cruelty. But Marcus didn't stop there. He rebuilt Barton & Wells in his own image. The first change he made was symbolic. Every employee, from the janitors to the CFO, received the same company ID card. No colors, no tiers, no badges of superiority. The second change was structural. A portion of profits was allocated to staff welfare, education programs, and fair wages. And perhaps the most poetic act, Marcus personally shook the hands of every delivery driver who walked through those glass doors, treating them with the respect he had once been denied. Word spread quickly, and soon Barton & Wells became known not for arrogance, but for fairness. The city watched in awe as the once toxic empire transformed. Yet for Marcus, it wasn't about applause. It wasn't about glory. His revenge was never loud. It was calculated, deliberate, patient. He had taken every insult, every laugh, every sneer, and forged them into the steel of his victory. One night, as he stood in the top-floor office that had once belonged to Harold Barton, Marcus looked out over the glittering city. The very skyline that once mocked him now bowed beneath his feet. He thought of the van, still parked in his garage, dented, faded, worn. A relic of the years when he was invisible. He kept it polished now,
not because he needed it, but because it reminded him of the mask he wore, the patience he carried, and the sweet justice he delivered. The world had mocked the delivery guy, but in the end, it was the delivery guy who signed their paychecks. And Marcus Hale smiled, not the tired smile of a man enduring insults, but the quiet smile of a man who delivered his final perfect package: revenge.